You check their name again. The screen stays blank. The urge rises. To text. To wait. To prove you're still there. It's familiar. The loop of reaching for what doesn't return. Each tap, a quiet plea. Each pause, a weight you carry alone. You don't say it, but the silence screams. Invisible, you keep scrolling, expecting a shift. It doesn't come. The pattern holds you, not them. Why do you chase what's already gone? Does their absence carve your worth? You think persistence proves something, but what? The more you reach, the less you hold. The reflex runs blind, automatic. You know it's wrong, yet the phone stays in your hand. The cost isn't loud, it's a slow bleed. Every check erodes your center. Every weight pulls you from presence. The system frays, not because they left, but because you cling. You don't see it, but the loop tightens. Your time, your focus, your inner weight, all slip through the cracks of their silence. You're not broken, but you're leaking. Marcus Aurelius. You can leave life right now. Let that determine what you do. The void isn't your enemy. It's a mirror. Their absence isn't a verdict. It's a fact. You don't need to fill it. You need to see it. The weight you feel is what you refuse to let go. When did you decide their silence speaks louder than your own? You wait, as if their reply will reset the scale. But the scale is yours. You carry it, not them. You've been here before, staring at the same screen, the same pause, the same hope blindly. What changes this time? The loop runs until you cut it. The next move isn't theirs, it's yours. You think trying harder will make them see you, as if effort buys value. You send one more message, make one more call, wait one more hour. It feels right, like proof of your worth, doesn't it? The more you give, the more they'll notice. That's the rule, or so you believe. But pause. Does their silence shift because you push? Does their absence fade when you chase? You've done this before. Poured more into the void. What changed? Nothing. The logic cracks. Effort doesn't force truth. You're not unseen because you're quiet. You're unseen because you explain. Their response won't fill the gap. It never has. Why bet on what's already lost? Detach. The weight isn't theirs to lift. It's yours to drop. You don't owe anything. Stillness waits where the loop ends. Lesson 1. The trap of chasing validation. You open their message thread. Again. The last reply sits there, days old, weeks old, unanswered. Your finger hovers. The urge to type surges. Just one more line. Maybe this time they'll see you. The thought feels right. Like effort proves something. You chase. Not them, but the idea they'll turn back. It's automatic. A reflex you don't question. You've done this before. Sent words into the void. Waited for a flicker of response. Nothing shifts. Yet you keep running, as if their silence measures your worth. The cost isn't in the message. It's in what you lose. Every tap pulls you from your center. Every weight erodes your presence. You don't notice, but the loop carves deeper. Your time, your focus, your inner weight, all bleed into their absence. You think you're proving loyalty, but you're betraying yourself. The system runs, blind, relentless. You're not unseen because you're quiet. You're unseen because you beg to be seen. What does chasing prove? You think it shows strength, but does it? Their silence doesn't change, yet you keep pouring. Why? The logic phrase, effort, doesn't force truth. You're not building a bridge. You're sinking in quicksand. The harder you try, the deeper you trap yourself. You know this, yet the phone stays in your hand. The reflex isn't about them, it's about you. You chase to avoid the void, but the void grows anyway. Marcus Aurelius, you have power over your mind, not external events. The chase is a hook. You bite it yourself. Their absence isn't a verdict. It's a fact. You don't need to fill it. You need to withdraw. Step back, not to win them, but to reclaim you. The urge will rise again. Let it pass. Breath. Don't text. Don't check. Hold the line. The system resets. Not when they reply, but when you stop asking. You don't need their eyes to exist. Their silence isn't your sentence. Withdraw, not as punishment, but as truth. The loop ends when you stop running. You don't have to react. The reflex to chase doesn't vanish. It lingers, quiet, waiting for a crack. You'll feel it again. The pull to prove you're enough. But each time you pause, you carve a new line. The next lesson cuts deeper into the words you don't need to say. Lesson 2. Explaining to be seen. You sit in the quiet. The weight of their silence presses. You draft a message in your head, words to bridge the gap. If you could just explain, they'd understand. You type it out, delete it, type again. The need burns to make them see your pain, your effort, your worth. It feels like truth, like clarity will shift their gaze. You've done this before. Poured reasons into the void. Their response stays cold. Or worse, it never comes. Yet you keep trying, as if words can force their eyes to open. The cost isn't in the unsent text. It's in the surrender. Every explanation chips at your center. You think you're building understanding, but you're begging for rejection. The more you justify, the less they hear. You don't see it, but the loop tightens. Your voice, your truth, your inner weight, all fade into their indifference. You're not unheard because you're silent. You're unheard because you speak where no one listens. Why do you think words will change them? You lay out your case, as if logic bends their will. Does it? Their silence doesn't shift, yet you keep framing your worth for their approval. The reflex runs blind, relentless. You explain to avoid the truth, that their gaze isn't your mirror. You know this, yet the words still form. The trap isn't their response. It's your need to be seen. Seneca. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Their indifference isn't a chain. It's a shadow you cast. You don't need their nod to stand. Silence is your reset, not their reply. Hold the urge. Don't send the text. Say less. Let the need pass. Breathe. The system clears. Not when they understand, but when you stop pleading. Witness the impulse and let it dissolve. You don't need their ears to exist. Their dismissal isn't your verdict. Silence holds its own truth. The loop breaks when you stop speaking. Silence isn't surrender. The urge to explain fades, but it waits, ready to pull you back. You'll feel it again, the need to be heard. But each time you hold still, you reclaim a piece of yourself. The next lesson shifts to what you grip too tightly. Lesson 3. Clinging to what's gone. The memory hums. Their voice, their words, their shadow. You hold on, replaying moments that no longer exist. A photo, a message, a promise they broke. You grip them tightly, as if keeping them close keeps you whole. It feels like loyalty, like love, won't fade if you refuse to let go. You've done this before, built shrines to what was. The past stays still, but you don't, yet you keep holding, as if their ghost will turn and see you. The cost isn't in the memory, it's in the anchor. Every moment you cling, you sink deeper into regret. You think you're preserving something, but you're burying yourself. The more you hold, the less you move. You don't notice, but the weight grows. Your time, your breath, your presence, all drown in what's gone. You're not lost because they left. You're lost because you stay. Picture a river. You stand in its flow, grasping at water. Does it stay? You hold on, but it slips through. The reflex runs, blind, futile. You think keeping them near saves you. But from what? The truth isn't in their shadow. It's in the current you fight. You know this, yet your hands stay clenched. The trap isn't their absence. It's your refusal to release. Epictetus, you are not troubled by things, but by the views you take of them. The past isn't a chain, it's a choice. You don't need to carry it. You need to let go. Step out of the river, not to forget, but to stand dry. Breathe. Don't scroll back. Don't replay. Witness the urge and let it pass. The system resets, not when they return, but when you walk away. You don't need their ghost to exist. Their departure isn't your sentence. Let go, and the current still flows. The loop breaks when you stop grasping. Let go isn't weakness. A leaf falls. It drifts, weightless, to the ground. It doesn't fight the wind. You've held on long enough. The next lesson turns to how you answer silence. Lesson 4. Reacting to silence. Their silence lands heavy, sharp, final. You feel it, the urge to fill the void. A text forms in your mind. A call you almost make. A post you nearly share. You racked, as if action will break their quiet. It feels urgent, like their absence demands your response. You've done this before. Rush to shatter the stillness. Nothing shifts. Their silence holds. Yet you keep moving, as if your worth hinges on their reply. You think reacting proves you're alive, but it doesn't. Every impulse you follow pulls you into isolation. You chase a response, but find only echoes. The more you push, the further you drift. You don't see it, but the loop deepens. Your clarity, your center, your inner weight, all fracture under the weight of their quiet. You're not unseen because you're still. You're unseen because you flinch. If you respond, will their silence break? You think action forces truth, but does it? Their quiet stays, yet you rush to fill it. Why? You react to dodge the truth. Their absence isn't your fault. You believe movement saves you, but it traps you. The logic fails. Reacting doesn't rewrite reality. You know this, yet the urge rises. The trap isn't their silence. It's your need to answer it. Seneca, you have power over your mind, not external events. Silence isn't a blade, it's a mirror. You don't need to shatter it, you need to pause. Hold the impulse. Don't text, don't call. Breathe. Witness the urge. Let it pass. The system resets, not when they speak, but when you stay still. Their quiet isn't your verdict. It's a fact you can face without breaking. You don't need their words to stand. Their silence isn't your chain. Pause, and the void holds no power. The loop ends when you stop answering. Stillness is enough. The quiet lingers, but it doesn't own you. Each pause you take builds a new reflex. The next lesson shifts to the pain you try to bury. Lesson 5. Suppressing the pain. The ache rises, sharp, uninvited. You feel it behind your chest. In the quiet hours, you push it down, clench your jaw, scroll faster, work harder. You suppress as if ignoring the pain will make it vanish. It feels like control, like strength lies in silence. You've done this before. Buried the hurt under tasks, distractions, denial. The ache lingers, duller but heavier. Yet you keep pressing, as if numbness is victory. The cost isn't in the moment, it's in the fracture. Every time you suppress, you carve numbness deeper. You think you're shielding yourself, but you're severing your roots. The more you bury, the less you feel. You don't notice, but the system cracks. Your clarity, your breath, your presence, all fade into a fog you built. You're not stronger for hiding. You're lost for refusing to see. You think suppressing saves you, but does it? You lock the pain away. Does it dissolve? The hurt stays, yet you tighten the lid. Why? You suppress to avoid the truth, but the truth festers. You believe silence heals, but it traps you. The logic fails. Burying doesn't erase. You know this, yet the reflex runs. The trap isn't the pain, it's your denial of it. Epictetus. It's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Pain isn't a chain, it's a signal. You don't need to silence it. You need to witness it. Sit with the ache. Don't scroll. Don't run. Breathe. Feel it rise. Let it pass. The system resets, not when the pain stops, but when you stop fighting it. The hurt isn't your enemy. It's a truth you can face. You don't need to bury the ache to stand. Numbness isn't your shield. Witness. And the fog begins to lift. The loop ends when you stop hiding. Pain doesn't mean truth. The ache remains, but it doesn't rule you. Each moment you face it, you reclaim your ground. The next lesson turns to the approval you seek in vain. Lesson 6. Pleasing to be valued. You say yes again. Their request lands small, familiar, expectant. You nod. Adjust your plans, swallow your needs. You please, as if their approval will fill the gap. It feels right, like kindness proves your worth. You've done this before. Bent yourself to fit their frame. They smile, or they don't. The gap remains, yet you keep giving, as if their nod will make you whole. The cost isn't in the moment, it's in the erosion. Every time you please, you chip away at self-command. You think you're building bonds, but you're breaking your own. The more you bend, the less you stand. You don't see it, but the system frays. Your time, your truth, your inner weight, all crumble under their weight. You're not valued for giving. You're lost for surrendering. Picture two paths. One man yields, always open, always empty. Another stands, firm, centered, unmoved. Who holds the line? The pleaser trades his core for glances, the other keeps his ground. You please to avoid rejection, but rejection comes anyway. The reflex runs blind, relentless. You think giving more earns value, but it dilutes you. You know this, yet the yes still forms. Marcus Aurelius. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Their approval isn't your anchor. It's a trap. You don't need their smile to exist. You need to hold the line. Say no, not to wound, but to stand. Breathe. Witness the urge to bend. Let it pass. The system resets. Not when they value you, but when you value yourself. You don't need their nod to stand. Their gaze isn't your measure. Hold the line, and your worth holds firm. The loop ends when you stop yielding. You don't owe anything. A man waited years for approval. He reshaped himself, silenced his needs. They never noticed. His mirror stayed empty. The next lesson shifts to the thoughts you let spiral. Lesson 7. Overthinking the loss. The thought loops. Their words. Their silence. Their absence. You overthink. Tracing every moment. Every choice. What did you miss? What could you have said? The questions spiral. Relentless. Sharp. It feels like clarity. Like unraveling the truth will bring them back. You've done this before. Built mazes in your mind. The answers don't come. Yet you keep searching, as if the loss holds the key to you. The cost isn't in the thought, it's in the drain. Every loop you run deepens anxiety. You think you're solving something, but you're sinking deeper. The more you trace, the less you see. You don't notice, but the system stalls. Your focus, your breath, your presence, all tangle in a knot you tied. You're not lost because they're gone. You're lost because you chase their shadow. Your mind hums. Why did they leave? You replay their last words. What if you'd done more? The loop tightens. You think answers heal. They don't. You overthink to escape the void. But the void grows. The trap isn't the loss. It's the maze you build. Seneca. There is nothing so wretched as a mind anxious about the future. The loss isn't a puzzle. It's a fact. You don't need to solve it. You need to breathe. Stop the spiral. Don't trace. Don't question. Witness the thought. Let it pass. The system resets. Not when you understand, but when you release. The questions aren't your chain. They're a weight you can drop. You don't need answers to stand. The loss isn't your sentence. Breath. And the maze begins to fade. The loop ends when you stop running. The void is where it clears. The spiral slows, but it waits, ready to pull you back. Each breath you take clears a new space. The next lesson turns to the hope you place in vain. Lesson 8. Hoping blindly for change. You wait. Their silence stretches, unbroken. Yet you hope blindly, believing they'll shift, return, see you. A new message might come. A call might break the quiet. It feels like faith, like holding space proves your strength. You've done this before, pinned your piece to their next move. Nothing changes, their absence holds. Yet you keep hoping, as if their choice will rewrite your grief. The cost isn't in the wait, it's in the surrender. Every moment you hope blindly, you deepen the wound. You think you're staying open, but you're closing yourself off. The more you wait, the less you live. You don't notice, but the system frays your time, your clarity, your inner weight, all fade into their shadow. You're not broken because they left. You're broken because you bet on their return. You tell yourself they'll change. Their silence will crack. Will it? You hope blindly to avoid the truth. But the truth stands firm. Their choice isn't your fault, nor your fix. You think waiting shows love, but it traps you. The logic fails. Hope doesn't force reality. You know this, yet the reflex runs. The trap isn't their absence. It's your refusal to move. Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not external events. Their silence isn't a door, it's a wall. You don't need to wait for it to fall. You need to disengage. Step back, not to forget, but to free yourself. Breathe. Don't check for their name. Don't hold space for their return. Witness the hope. Let it dissolve. The system resets. Not when they change, but when you walk away. You don't need their shift to stand. Their absence isn't your chain. Disengage, and your ground holds firm. The loop ends when you stop waiting. Detachment is a form of respect. Seneca walked away from Nero's court. He sought no approval, no return. His clarity came in the quiet. The final lesson shifts to the worth you deny yourself. Lesson 9. Denying your worth. The mirror waits, but you turn away. Their silence echoes, and you agree with it. You, Denny, telling yourself you're not enough. Too flawed, too small, too late. It feels like truth, like their absence proves your lack. You've done this before, dimmed your own light to match their shadow. The world moves on, but you shrink. Yet you keep agreeing, as if their gaze defines your inner weight. The cost isn't in their quiet, it's in your surrender. Every time you Denny, you erode your core. You think you're facing reality, but you're forging a lie. The more you shrink, the less you stand. You don't notice, but the system collapses. Your voice, your breath, your presence, all fade under the weight you impose. You're not unseen because they left. You're unseen because you hide. You walk past a moment. Their words sting, and you nod. They're right, you think. You Denny your strength, as if their judgment holds the scale. Does it? You let their silence carve your worth. But why? The reflex runs, blind, relentless. You think agreeing saves you, but it traps you. The logic fails. Their view isn't your truth. You know this, yet you still bow. Epictetus. No man is free who is not master of himself. Their absence isn't a verdict, it's a fact. You don't need their eyes to exist. You need to stay still. Face the mirror, not to judge, but to see. Breathe. Don't shrink, don't agree. Witness the urge to fade. Let it pass. The system resets, not when they see you, but when you see yourself. You don't need their nod to stand. Their silence isn't your measure. Stay still, and your worth holds firm. The loop ends when you stop hiding. Not doing is power too. The lessons carve deep, each one a cold cut, stripping away the reflexes that bind you. You've seen the loops, chasing, explaining, clinging, reacting. They run silent, yet loud in your chest. The weight of their absence lingers. But it's not the absence that traps you. It's the choices you repeat. You stand now at the edge of a new reflex. Not to fill the void, but to face it. Breathe. The system doesn't reset by force. It resets by stillness. You've walked this far. The next step isn't forward, but inward. The quiet isn't your enemy. It's your ground. Hold the line, and the truth begins to clear. The loops you've traced, they don't vanish. They hum, quiet, persistent, waiting for a crack. You've seen their shape, chasing shadows, explaining voids, clinging to ghosts. Each reflex feels like truth, until you pause. Their silence isn't your chain. It's a signal. You don't need to answer it. You need to witness it. The system frays not because they're gone, but because you move to fill their absence. A man once stood at a door, knocking, waiting, pleading for it to open. It stayed shut. He walked away and found his own ground. The lessons build, not to erase the pain, but to hold it without breaking. Stay still, and the next truth surfaces. The door you knocked on stays shut. You feel the urge again, to push, to plead, to prove you're enough. But each lesson cuts deeper, showing the trap isn't their silence. It's your response. You've learned to pause, to witness the pull instead of following it. The void doesn't shrink, but it loses its grip. You don't need their answer to stand. You need your own stillness. Their absence is a shadow, not your truth. Each time you hold the line, you reclaim your center. The system doesn't break, it rebuilds. Breathe. And the next lesson anchors you further. The shadow lingers, but it doesn't own you. You've seen the loops, how they pull you to chase, to explain, to cling. Each reflex a lifeline until you see it's a leash. You've learned to pause, to breathe through the urge. The silence they left isn't a verdict, it's a space. You don't need to fill it, you need to stand in it. The system resets, not by their return, but by your refusal to run. A single step back holds more weight than 1,000 pleas. Detach, and the ground beneath you holds firm. The lessons stack, each one a cold anchor in the storm. Witness the pull, and the next truth rises. The storm quiets, but the pull remains. You know the reflexes now. The urge to react, to please, to hope blindly. They whisper, promising relief if you follow. But you've seen their lie. They don't save, they sink. Each pause you take builds a new frame. Their silence isn't your sentence. It's a space you can hold. You don't need their voice to stand. You need your own silence. You are not the shadow they cast. Hold the line, and the system steadies. The lessons carve a path, not to escape the void, but to walk through it. Breathe, and the next anchor sets. The path narrows, but it holds. You've traced the loops, overthinking, suppressing, Delaware gnawing, each one a weight you carried, thinking it proved your worth. But the truth cuts colder. Their absence doesn't measure you. You've learned to witness, to stand still when the urge pulls. The void isn't your enemy, it's your mirror. You don't need to change it, you need to see it. A man spent years reshaping himself. For eyes that never looked, he stopped, and the mirror showed his own face. The system doesn't bend to their will, it bends to yours. Detach, and the next truth holds firm. The mirror reflects, not their gaze, but yours. You've seen the traps, chasing, pleasing, hoping blindly, each reflex a thread, tying you to their silence. You cut them now, not with force, but with stillness. Their absence doesn't carve your worth, your choices do. You don't need their nod to stand, you need your own breath. The system steadies, not by filling the void, but by facing it. You are not their verdict. Witness the pull, let it pass. The lessons build, each one a cold root in your ground. Hold the line, and the next truth anchors deeper. The roots deepen, but the pull persists. You know the reflexes, explaining, reacting, Delaware gnawing. They hum, quiet, familiar, promising ease if you yield. But you've seen their cost. They don't lift, they bind. Each time you pause, you forge a new line. Their silence isn't your chain, it's a mirror. You don't need to shatter it, you need to see it. Their absence isn't your sentence, it's a space you can stand in. A single breath outweighs 1,000 pleas. Detach, and your center holds. The lessons stack, each one a cold frame for your truth. Breathe, and the next anchor sets. The frame strengthens, but the void remains. You've traced the traps, clanging, overthinking, hopping blindly. Each one a hook. You bit, thinking it held truth. But the truth is colder. Their absence doesn't define you. You've learned to witness, to breathe when the urge rises. Their silence isn't your weight, it's a fact you can face. You don't need their eyes to stand, you need your own presence. You are not their shadow. Hold the line, and the system rebuilds. The lessons carve deep, each one a cold root in your center. Stay still, and the next truth surfaces. The center holds, but the pull lingers. You've seen the loops, pleasing, reacting, Delaware NYing. They whisper, offering relief if you follow. but you know their lie. They don't free, they trap. Each time you stay still, you carve a new truth. Their silence isn't your chain, it's a mirror. You don't need to shatter it, you need to see it. Their absence isn't your sentence, it's a space you can stand in. A man once chased a shadow until he stood still. The light was his own. Detach, and your ground steadies. The lessons build, each one a cold anchor for your presence. Breath, and the final truth rises. The truth surfaces, but the reflexes wait. You've traced them all. Chasing, explaining, clinging, hopping blindly. Each one a thread, tying you to their silence. You cut them now, not with anger, but with silence. Their absence doesn't carve your worth. Your choices do. You don't need their voice to stand. You need your own breath. The system resets, not by their gaze, but by your stillness. You are not their verdict. Witness the urge. Let it pass. The lessons end, but the ground remains. Hold the line, and your center holds firm. The phone screen dims. No messages flash. You sit, hands still, breath steady. The urge to check, to chase, to explain. It passed this time. You didn't move, didn't fill the void. The quiet holds, not heavy, not empty, just there. You breathe, and the world doesn't shift. Their silence doesn't pull. You don't push back. Stillness is its own weight. What stays when you don't react? The question hums, not loud, not urgent. It lingers, a cold mirror. You don't need to answer, only to see. Their absence isn't your chain. It's a fact you hold without breaking. Silence holds its own weight.